So I have to attribute my journey to my wife because I was sitting in my chair here about 10 years ago at night. I started shaking, but it wasn't. I thought it was cold at first, but then it was almost uncontrollable shaking. So I went to bed, had an electric blanket on. I was just trying to get warm, and I couldn't get warm, and I kept shaking. So she was insistent. She called 911, and the paramedics showed up, and I would never have done that. So I thought it was just going to go away. So when they make a long story short, they took me to the hospital, checked me out at the hospital. Everything was okay. Everything's okay. But as time progressed, when I was at the hospital, my temperature started to rise. So I ended up having sepsis, or the beginnings of sepsis, which I would never have known. It just happened all at once, and we started reading about sepsis and how fatal it could be, But what happened was my bladder wasn't emptying. It was infected. The urine was infected, and that's where it all started. And then I went to a urologist for the first time, and he had the camera deal and went inside me and found out that something was happening with my bladder, wasn't working properly. They used the Foley catheter in the hospital. So this is my first experience with catheters. And then when I went to the urologist, he said, you should probably start self-cathing. And I didn't even know what that was. He said, 8-year-olds do it. I'm like, oh, great. I'm like, at the time I was 62, I think. I went through the whole rigmarole of learning how to cath. And then I went on YouTube. You feel like you're the only person in the world going through this. Can't talk to anybody. I mean, none of my friends would understand. So I started going on YouTube, and I found these guys who, in car accidents, is one man coming back from the war who was a paraplegic, and he actually showed how he would cath. And I thought, my gosh, those guys are going through so much more than what I'm going through here, So I just got my wits together and did the self-cathing. And then, a month later, I had surgery, and he went in and opened everything up, and so I saw everything was fine for a couple of years. I went to another urologist, and she went through another test with me just because I said I'm uncomfortable sleeping. I keep having to go to the bathroom. She did this test, and I've had it done before, where they measure the pressure of your bladder and everything and see if it's working properly. And she found out that my bladder is not working properly. It's not, she said you feel like you're empty, but you're not. And she said you've got about 150 milliliters in there, which is about, that's about the most you want. And I said, I don't want any of that in there. She said, I think you need to self-cath again. I went, oh my gosh. So I said, I was resigned to the fact that I was going to go with self-cathing. And that's when she introduced me to 180 Medical. And the first person I talked to was so nice. So she guided me as far as what catheters to try and what to use and how to. I said, I really want to be mobile. I want to go on vacation when I do things. She said, well, you need to use the air. She said, that new package we have. So I was trying a bunch of stuff, and then I ended up finding what I needed, and I've been self-cathing ever since. But I've used the videos on your website. I think you sent a little pamphlet out. All that stuff is so helpful, and I've been going here and there and living life. So happy that you have no idea what it's like to know that your bladder is empty, because I went for years with, this feeling of not being empty.